In the heart of Eastern Europe, a conflict of staggering scale and consequence has redefined modern warfare. The full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia has pitted two vastly different military forces against each other in a brutal attritional struggle. Today, we undertake a detailed comparison of their military strengths, a story not just of numbers, but of resilience, adaptation, and the changing face of global conflict. On paper, the disparity begins with personnel. Russia initiated the conflict with a massive professional army of nearly 1 million active soldiers and a reserve pool of 2 million. In contrast, Ukraine's active military was significantly smaller, at around 200,000 personnel, though bolstered by a substantial reserve force of 900,000. However, the war has triggered a full-scale mobilization in Ukraine, swelling its ranks and demonstrating a national will to fight that numbers alone cannot capture. On the ground, Russia's quantitative superiority is immense. It began the war with an estimated 14,700 tanks and a vast arsenal of artillery and armored vehicles, dwarfing Ukraine's initial inventory of roughly 1,800 tanks. Yet the story of the ground war has been one of Ukrainian ingenuity and Western support. The provision of advanced anti-tank guided missiles, precision artillery like Himpers, and modern main battle tanks has allowed Ukraine to blunt Russian offensives and inflict devastating losses, turning the battlefield into a graveyard of armor. In the skies, Russia's advantage appears even more pronounced. With over 4,000 aircraft, including advanced fighter jets and attack helicopters, the Russian Air Force is one of the largest in the world. Ukraine's Air Force was, and remains, a fraction of that size. However, Russia has failed to achieve total air supremacy. A combination of Ukraine's mobile air defense systems, many supplied by the West, and the skill of its pilots has created a contested airspace where Russian jets are under constant threat, limiting their effectiveness. The naval dimension of this conflict has produced some of the most dramatic moments. Russia's Black Sea Fleet, with its cruisers, frigates, and submarines, began by blockading Ukrainian ports. Ukraine, with a virtually non-existent traditional navy, turned to asymmetric warfare. The use of domestically produced naval drones and anti-ship missiles, famously sinking the flagship cruiser Moskva, has forced the Russian fleet to retreat, effectively breaking the blockade and showcasing the power of innovation against a superior conventional force. Beyond the conventional, this war has been a proving ground for 21st-century combat. In the realm of cyber warfare, Russia launched widespread attacks against Ukrainian government and infrastructure websites, even before the first shots were fired. Ukraine, however, has proven to be a highly resilient target, bolstered by international support and a vibrant domestic tech sector that has formed a volunteer IT army to counter Russian aggression and conduct its own cyber operations. Logistics has been a central and perhaps decisive factor. Russia's initial advance was plagued by logistical failures, with long, exposed supply lines becoming easy targets for Ukrainian forces. While Russia has since adapted, constructing new railway lines to support its front, its ability to sustain large-scale offensive operations remains a challenge. Ukraine's logistics, heavily supported by NATO countries, have been a lifeline, enabling its forces to remain supplied with ammunition, fuel, and equipment, despite constant Russian attempts to disrupt these critical supply chains. In conclusion, the Russo-Ukrainian War is a stark illustration that military strength is far more than a simple comparison of assets. Russia's immense quantitative advantage in personnel and legacy equipment has been met by Ukraine's strategic adaptability, technological innovation, and the unprecedented scale of Western military and financial aid. The conflict has demonstrated the potency of asymmetric tactics, the critical importance of logistics, and the power of a nation united in defense of its sovereignty. It is a brutal, ongoing lesson in the complex, multifaceted nature of modern warfare.